Welcome to Neo-Buddhist Taoism. I'm here with Connie. We're trying a different format. Hello, Connie.
Hi.
And so the sound may be different because we're trying this long distance. But we're up to Tao Te Ching number 9. Number 9.
Mm.
And
Number 9.
Number 9. And I guess Connie's going to go ahead and read it. Go ahead.
All right. Better to stop short than fill to the brim. Over sharpen the blade, and the edge will soon blunt. Amass a store of gold and jade, and no one can protect it. Claim wealth and title, and disaster will follow. Retire when the work is done. This is the way of heaven.
All right.
Nice one.
Yeah, it's nice and short. Short and sweet.
And very much to the point.
This
Go ahead.
Well, this follows a theme of too much victory brings misfortune, and it's kind of pointing that out. So better to stop short than fill to the brim because you're going to end up wasting.
Yep.
So, over sharpen the blade and the edge will soon blunt. Yep.
That's actually true.
Yeah. Well, it's all true.
Yeah, but I mean, it's really true that if you over sharpen a blade, there's a certain angle, and if you take it steeper than that angle, sharper, then it isn't well supported, and it will blunt almost immediately, even though it's super sharp. Whereas if you stick to that angle, the sharp edge will last for a lot longer.
Amass a store of gold and jade, and no one can protect it. I think that is obviously true. Like, if the prize is great enough, then more and more resources will be spent to bring it down. And eventually,
right.
If the prize is high enough, then no one can protect it, right? There'll be no loyalty.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that is actually kind of true in the IT world. So the IT world, a lot is about security, data security. And the truth is, the real truth is that there is no security. All you have is you have a series of blocks, and it'll take you this much resources to steal that data. I mean, it's time and resources. And if you spent enough time and resources into getting data, you're going to get it. It's just how much time and resources it takes. And so a lot of people really don't really understand that. But, that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
There is no privacy anymore. That's why, big companies get hacked and stuff. Like the recent ones we saw last year that's just the tip of the iceberg. But what concerns me the most is that with the data collection of the NSA, is that eventually that is going to be the biggest store of gold and jade, because that's the mother lode of information that can be used for whatever. And so at some point, that information is going to be compromised. Mark my words, if it hasn't been already,
Right.
And so that's interesting.
Yep.
So claim wealth and titles, and disaster will follow. What do you think of that?
Well, don't you think that's true? That the higher placed you are, the more at risk you are.
Yeah.
And you're much more effective when you don't put yourself too far above the rest.
Yeah. Well, also, like, just, people may have a problem with you they won't care. They don't care about you so much if you're just some random loser. But like everybody you've ever pissed off, once you've achieved the wealth, may want to sue you for what you did to them back in the day or whatever. Like whereas before, if you were just a nobody, they don't care.
Right.
The greatest are to live well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it kind of goes. It goes in reverse too. Like who do you think you are living so well?
Right. Really, that is right on. It's interesting how this was written so many hundreds of years ago, and yet, human nature does not change.
Thousands of years ago, yes, thousands of years.
Yeah, right. And yet, yeah.
And that's why Lao Tzu lost faith, and he's the author. And what did the author do? The author gave up and rode off into the desert to die. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's what I mean. Give up. Like that's one of the tenets of the whole philosophy. Is once just give up. Once you give up, things are going to be much easier for you. Seriously, one of the themes is just give up, man. Okay, so retire when the work is done. This is the way of heaven.
Yeah. And that's very right on, too. I'm at an age where, I'm at retirement age, and it's not as easy as you would think, even for a free spirit like me.
Oh,
yet,
yeah.
it's much the better way.
I hate to be political, but Bernie Sanders is like right on. He's amazing, and I don't even want to get my hopes up that he's going to win. I've been promoting Bernie Sanders for years, and what he says about Social Security is right on. Like as soon as somebody says they want to expand Social Security, they want to give education, they're like, well, where's the money coming from? How are you going to pay for all this? But like at the blink of an eye, they will, fund the next war. Like it's nothing.
Oh yeah.
And so like that's what has to change, and he's actually saying that. He's not compromising at all. And
no,
it's great.
What's there, some $7 trillion or something that they lost? The Pentagon can't account for.
Yeah. I don't want to get into that.
That's outrageous.
Yeah, $7 trillion. Oh, but we don't have $24 billion for Medicare. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Just come on.
Yes. Right. Exactly.
Our bridges are crumbling. Somebody has to invest in the country.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and the most important resource of a country is its people, and we as a nation have stopped investing in our people, and that's foolhardiness.
Well, they're not investing in anything. The thing is, so here's how it started out. I've been thinking a lot about this, and this is what I think. Is that the elite, the Rothschilds of the world, and the Illuminati, if you will, do exist, and the thing is that they were after the goal that they were after was somewhat noble, and what that was is the end of the tyranny of the divine right of kings, which is the system of government that most of the world used from primitive times, and it isn't fair. Why does that guy get to be king? Because his dad was king? That doesn't make any sense. So they went about dismantling the divine right of kings. And in the process, what they've done over the last few hundred years is they're specifically targeting the sovereignty of nations. And it kind of has all come to fruition here with the last Trans-Pacific Trade Partnership Agreement, which basically gives corporations the right to sue countries in an international court if the countries cause the corporations to lose profit. That's basically what happened, and it's signed,
right.
and it's a done deal. The problem is that they didn't plan very well, or if they have, they haven't really given us any glimpse of like what form of government is going to replace it. And what is kind of replacing it is this corptocracy. And the problem is that the corptocracy is not a better form of government than the divine right of kings.
No, if anything, it's worse, but it's certainly no better.
It has no soul, and there's no responsibility. Like, its only purpose is to grow and to profit, and it doesn't matter what else happens. And so, like, these corporations are destroying the earth on these short-term gains in order to meet the soulless demand of the corptocracy. For profit. And it's short-term profit. They don't care that, they fracked this land and that for the next 1,000 years nothing will live here, because at the end of the day they showed a 2% growth on their quarterly earning report. You know what I mean? Like, that's all that matters. And then the people, if the profits start to go, the heads will change, but nothing ever changes. It's like we have, as humanity, has lost control of this beast that we've unleashed, and it doesn't have any ethics. It doesn't have any concern for the future. It only matters about the short-term profit. And it's destroying the entire world. And so what I'm getting at, and I'm sorry about grandstanding here, but Bernie Sanders is like our only hope, and even he probably can't change it. I don't know what we can do. We're really in a bad way. Like,
well, here's the thing.
One after another. Oh my God.
There's the 1% that controls, the vast majority. I mean, more than the majority. Something like 96% or 99% or whatever of everything.
Own pretty much everything.
Yeah. Whatever the percentages are, I think everyone knows that, there's 1% of the population that has the control of not just the bigger half, but really, 9/10 at least of the real property, of the actual, gold, jewels, however you want to measure wealth, resources, you name it. So then, and that 1% isn't, like you say, they're controlling it through the corporations. So they have no sense of responsibility whatsoever. There is no noblesse oblige to this system.
Yeah,
so
a king is a tyrant, and who's the tyrant? The king. There at least is somebody responsible for who went to war, who decided to go to war, who did this. I mean, look at Iraq. Like, everybody agrees it was the wrong thing to do. We did it terribly. But nobody's responsible. The president's not responsible. Congress isn't responsible. Like, the intelligence agency, which apparently gave them the wrong information, is also not responsible. Nobody is responsible. So if nobody's going to be responsible for war, nobody's responsible for anything. Where does the buck stop here?
Exactly.
It'll never happen, but I think Bush would say, the buck stops here. I was the one responsible. I did it. Even if it wasn't.
Right, and it was a mistake.
It was a mistake.
Yeah.
It's my fault. And maybe, go to trial. Yeah, maybe. Be a leader. You were the president. You know what I mean, saying?
Right, exactly.
Well, he shouldn't have.
But no.
Okay, so who? If it's not the president who's responsible, then who? Like, we can't find out who is responsible. It's too complicated. That's where everything breaks down, because nobody can be held accountable ultimately.
But the glimmer of hope in that equation is that the 99% is 99%. So if the 99% can be organized, can be, welded into a solidarity, then that 99% actually does wield tremendous power.
Well, I agree.
They can literally bring the wheels of industry, grinding to a halt.
But they keep the 99% divided by racism and just religion is huge. We have Islam and Christianity, these two Goliath monotheistic systems. Isn't it the same God? What the hell are they fighting about?
Right, it's that whole us and them thing.
Yeah, I know,
mm-hmm.
I certainly know plenty of people who are super leery of Islamic people, and I try not to buy into it. I don't know. I am buying into it a little bit. It's just that's how much they get you.
Right, but actually, I saw Queen Rani of Jordan on Oprah many years ago, and she was marvelous. Oprah asked her what she thought about the terrorists, and the first thing she said was, "I don't like that word. I don't choose to use that word." She said, "What I see are not terrorists. What I see are extremists." And you have extremists in all countries and in all religions. You have Christian extremists, you have Muslim extremists,
mm-hmm.
For all I know, you have Buddhist extremists.
Oh yeah, Buddhists that light themselves on fire. Yeah.
There you go. That's pretty extreme.
Yeah, it doesn't get more extreme than that.
Yeah, and she said, "I don't know what the solution is to the problem, but I can tell you this." And I thought this was such a great line. Because I can tell you this, that those extremists, what they hate more than anything else is to see people such as ourselves getting together to talk things over in a mild and, understanding way to try to build bridges of understanding and compassion between peoples. And most people, anywhere in the world, most people are not extremists. Most people are a lot like you and I.
Yep.
And I thought, good for you. Now there's the truth.
And the queen, too.
Yes. Well, but she's American-born. She's a really interesting character, in personality and world politics. But, I thought that was so true. That we like to call them extremists or them terrorists, and them and us is always like a warning light goes off in my brain whenever anybody says they, because they are not us. And actually, we're all in this together. It's a small world, and it's getting smaller every day.
Yeah. World.
So,
right.
Yeah. So that's kind of the way I see it.
To retire when the work is done, this is the way of heaven. So I guess the point that it's trying to make is, and this is interesting when it says, this is the way of heaven. I guess heaven in Taoism is, what is it? Is it the demiurge? I mean, what I'm getting from retire when the work is done, this is the way of heaven, is that when heaven takes an action, it does the absolute bare minimum that it has to accomplish what it's trying to do, and then backs off. It does just what needs to be done and not one thing more.
Well, and what I get out of this is that the more you grasp for power, the more addicted you become to the power of your position or your wealth or whatever it is that you think gives you that power, being, one of a group often makes people feel more powerful. And that can be a good thing, but it's a double-edged sword, because it can also very easily turn into a nationalistic, jingoistic kind of, us and them kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so to retire when the work is done is to not be addicted to the power of your position, to feel that you've done what you could and it's time to hand the power off to someone else. And if you can do that, then it's the way of heaven, because you are truly the most capable, the most trustworthy caregiver or steward of the earth and its people. The most trustworthy steward is not the one who, tries to stay in power for as long as possible and to exert power from behind the scenes even after their day is done.
Yep.
That's kind of the way I see it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Kind of a short one, but I think we're probably wrapping it up.
Okay, well, it's been an interesting conversation.
Next time we'll be doing number 10, which is an interesting one. And I hope if you're listening to this that you enjoyed it, and we will catch you next time.
Yep. See you then.